Hello, everyone. Welcome to another segment of the Fishing Channel Regional Fishing Report. I hope everyone's staying warm. There's this Arctic storm crossing our country, which is crazy. So I hope everyone stays warm and safe wherever you are, and you get to your Christmas destination safely as well. So before we start tonight's Regional Fishing Report, just want to share a few reminders. Lakeland Draheim, as we have talked about on our show the past couple of weeks, is that little precious 5-year-old girl who's suffering from a rare form of brain cancer. There she is. She's so beautiful and precious. We had the pleasure of meeting her siblings actually at the Tangier Sound Classic this past summer. So that was really, really amazing and lovely to have met them and spend some time with them. So this season, we're encouraging everyone to reach into your pockets and please give to this little girl. If you log on to Lakeland Strong, if you search Lakeland Strong on Facebook, they do have a GoFundMe. So we ask everyone if you please consider giving to this little girl. Thank you so much. We also still have the TFC Plus, which is available on our YouTube page. So please join. And you can find amazing fishing videos from myself, Crazy Horse, and all your favorites on the Fishing Channel. So subscribe today for $5 a month. Thank you so much for allowing me to do the announcements, but we're going to get right into it. We have our boy E, Cape Coral's own Jupiter Kayak Fishing. How are you tonight?
Good. How are you guys doing tonight?
Warm. Yeah, the temperatures have been a little warmer today, so we're lucky. How are you guys over there?
Good, good. It's a lot warmer than you guys are because I was out fishing today and it was a great day of fishing. And but she wants to say something real quick before we get going. What do you want to say? This is Jupiter.
Hi. Oh, you're famous.
There you go. Merry Christmas.
Oh, she's so sweet. Thank you, sweetie. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
All right, go.
Bye. Before we begin as well, we have question of the evening tonight. And tonight's winner, woohoo, yeah. Tonight's winner gets $25 off of any pair of Hook Optics. You can go to the website hookoptics.com. They're also on Facebook and Instagram. They're in Centerville, Easton, and Ocean City, Maryland, Hook Optics Galleria.
How's my lighting, guys?
It kind of goes dark when you move.
You look like you're in a witness protection program.
Is that better?
No. If you have a lamp, it might offset the darkness. Or just yeah, right. No.
Yeah, let's just roll with it.
Yeah, just roll with it tonight. Thank you, though.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's okay. So normally I get a chance to look at your Facebook before we start the show. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do that. But I saw a comment and just wanted to know if this is true. Are you Southwest Florida's #1 kayak fishing charter?
I guess so.
Right on. Yeah. And we have you on our show. We're so honored. Thank you. Yeah, that's amazing. You know, when I definitely recommend all of our viewers to check out our boy E's videos. They are educational, they're fun, they're exciting, they're inclusive. You know, when you bring out your clients, sometimes they're in the video, and that's exciting too. So I really enjoy them because, like I said, they're really great and thorough. Thank you. So if anyone wants to book a charter with you, let's start with that. How do they get a hold of you? And how do they find your amazing videos?
The easiest way to get a hold of us is you can text us or call us direct at our phone number is 941-999-1365. or you can DM us or message us on either Instagram or Facebook or our YouTube channel, which has been the most popular one lately. Everyone's been calling us through YouTube, so it's a surprising thing that happened. We weren't trying to do that. We were just trying to post videos for our clients so they can, show their families their experience here. And then it turns out that it's the best thing that we've done so far.
Right on. After being hit with that horrible hurricane, and then recently, I believe there was a red tide that came in. It seems like you have bounced back, just amazing leaps and bounds here. So congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, we got pretty lucky here in Pine Island and Matlacha area as far as the red tide. It seems like the red tide affected a little bit more to the north. I didn't see one dead fish the whole time here yet, knock on wood. So we're lucky. And today I was out and I did extremely well today. I even found some tarpon again.
Oh,
I know Crazy Horse likes that word.
Yes.
Nothing to brag about. They were little juveniles, but I finally found them. I haven't found any of them since the hurricane, but today I finally found some, and I was excited and pumped, and my heart was racing when I mean, there were 12, 15 inchers, but I was so excited to find them again. My adrenaline was pumping.
Right on. Well, let's start there. I agree. I appreciate all size fish. There was a period where I did pier fishing, and got to give love to the smallies too, right? They're going to be biggies one day. So let's start with tarpon. Tell us about what setup are you using? Where are you finding them? What are the conditions? What else can you share?
The tarpon was actually, the biggest fluke today. I've been fishing now for about, I think 2-3 weeks in the area since the hurricane, just trying to find what's going on in the waters. And today was the first day I found tarpon. The things that I've been finding everywhere is trout. The trout bite right now is, I mean, you can't go 20 minutes without catching a trout right now in Matlacha. If you're putting anything in the water, you're probably going to catch a trout right now.
Yeah, I saw some of those photos briefly from your thumbnails from your videos, and they looked really awesome.
Yes.
Love speckled trout.
Yes.
So what are you using as far as your setup for speckled trout?
Well, today what I was using was something new, and it was a killer today, and it was these guys here. I'm not sure if you've ever used these.
Voodoo.
Yep, these rattling shrimp, 3.5 inch rattling shrimp.
Ooh.
They have a little rattle in them, and today I caught a 30-inch red with it. I caught a 21-inch gag grouper with it, and I caught another 2 smaller reds with that voodoo shrimp, which is, it goes away from my normal, this is what I love the best, this is my go-to, any, paddle tail.
Yes, paddle tail.
Yeah, paddle tail, paddle tail, paddle tail, paddle tail. I love them, but today I wanted to try something different, and it paid off big time, because I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have got that gag grouper on the paddle tail, especially in that little area I was fishing. I was working some docks that I went to go check out in the north part of Pine Island that, that they're now, people do not, there you go, that's the guy. Yeah, you can see the shrimp in his mouth still right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a nice action shot right there.
Absolutely. That was a couple hours ago.
Oh, my gosh.
He wasn't big enough to keep, unfortunately, so he went on to live on for another day. So
what are the regulations on that fish in your state? Or in your
right now, it's got to be 24 inches for you to keep a gag grouper. So
okay.
That's the minimum size.
Nice.
But he was 21. He wasn't there yet.
Oh, we're getting a question already. Rodney Green, what is the furthest length that a fish has pulled you around? That's a good question. That's a fun question. What species of fish was it?
A redfish.
Yeah.
It was a redfish. It was a redfish, and It was here in Matlacha Pass. He was, I believe, I think 32-inch, 33-inch redfish. And it was a very windy day, and there was a lot of current. So me and him we were going all over the place because the wind was taking me. He was taking me. I'm pretty sure I have that video somewhere in my YouTube channel. I think it's the 85-inch slam that I caught, where I caught everything was over 30 inches except for the trout. I think that video shows where I was moved around the longest there. That was fun.
Wow. Yeah, I can't imagine. You know, I'm sure you have a really stable kayak. You know, I was just thinking one of the kayaks I had, I probably would have flipped over. But I also know that we had another gentleman who's a master kayaker, and he talked about different techniques to avoid, you know, getting tossed around or having the best balance to pull that fish onto your kayak. Is there anything that you recommend?
I mean, the biggest safety rule I tell people when I'm taking them out on the kayak and they've never been on one is keep your head in the kayak. Is if you lean too far forward anywhere, even though my kayaks, you have to do a lot to tip one of my kayaks over. You got to do a lot of silly stuff has to happen for you to fall off one of my kayaks. But you know, if a wave catches you right and you're leaning forward and you have a big fish and your rod's to the side, but that's why a good guide he'll help you out and guide you and tell you where you want to have your rod pointed. The safest thing to do with a big fish in a kayak is keep that rod on the nose of the kayak. That way, if it goes left and right and it's a very strong fish, now your kayak will start leaning one of those ways, and that doesn't feel very safe.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
So we talked about reds. We talked about tarpon, grouper. What's another fish that you're finding in the areas you're in?
I caught a few snook today as well, and in the past weeks, I've been getting a few snook. And my client, he caught his personal best. It was a 32-inch snook. Ooh. So there's a video on that on our YouTube channel. So first snook ever, and 32 inches. I told him I was like, man, you have a long way to climb now.
That's exciting, though.
Yeah, but remember everything's fighting. But the strongest thing right now is the trout. The trout's best bite is during those negative tides and those low tides right now, and they seem to be hanging out everywhere where the reds should be. So they're on the mangrove corners. They're on oyster beds when the beds are exposed. I've been to a few oyster beds when they're completely covered and got no bites. But right now, when they're exposed because of the cold, you know, those oyster beds get heated up, you know, with the sun, and the fish like getting close to that. And when they're exposed, I've been doing much better on the trout on the oyster beds than when they're completely covered, if that makes sense.
It does, yes. And I think this video, and correct me if I'm wrong, if it was another video. Look at that face. Oh my gosh.
All right.
That's funny.
You guys didn't ask about the picture, all those mahi. That was an old picture that I found. The
thumbnail.
Yeah, the thumbnail you guys put up there.
Okay.
Where I'm laying down with like 15 mahi.
Yes, I saw that.
That's in Hawaii. That was a beautiful day. I found that picture and I just sent, and that's the one you guys chose for tonight.
Nice.
Yeah, I'll pull that up.
Yeah, Grant's working on pulling it up.
Yeah.
But one of your videos, I think, was labeled "You Don't Need Bait, 100% Plastics" or something to that effect. So what, I know we talked about paddle tails, but what other setups as far as plastics go do you recommend and have gotten you some really great fish?
Again, the paddle tail is really my go-to. I have 2 of those usually rigged on my 4. I usually carry 4 rods when I go out in my kayak, and 2 of those are different weights of paddle tail. So different jig heads, a little heavier one, and then a little lighter one. And then lately I've been trying a shrimp, And of course, I usually have either a top water or some sort of spoon, weedless spoon, gold spoon, or silver spoon. Those are my favorite go-to stuff. Today, I did experiment with some twitch baits, some Yozuri twitch baits, and I missed a humongous snook on it, so it made me angry, and I took it off.
That would do it for me too. No
Yeah.
more.
I was like,
what you know, stick with what works.
right.
Fun.
So
Fun
I
experiment.
was upset because I tried something new, and I was like, I would have got this if it was a paddle tail.
Yeah, and definitely check your line, right? And this might have been part of maybe the issue with the cobia. You know, and I lost a giant striped bass as well. And assuming that this is the problem, make sure you're checking your leader and checking your line as you're using it throughout the day, because it can get frayed and you can also lose a really great fish that way too. So it looks like we have another question. Carl Ward, what's your biggest trout you ever caught and what lure?
Big for me is 24-inch trout is the biggest trout for me. And he was actually on a not that one. He was on a popping cork with a live shrimp though, so that was live. But my go-to for trout is a paddle tail. It really is. I love the paddle tail.
Yeah, for sure. I support that 1,000%. Any other fish that you would like to give us some tips on that you're finding, or we it for this season? And does it differ in different seasons? So right now, you know, we're still, at least we are, you're spring and summer all year round. But we're in winter. You know, what fish are leaving, what fish are coming? Can you explain a little bit about that? What happens in your area?
Yeah, right now, like I said, the trout is the biggest thing that we're going to be focused on when I go out. We're going to catch some trout, 100%. The reds that I've been finding right now have been on the lower end of the slot, which our slot is 18 to 27. So everything I've been catching besides today's 30-incher has been between 18 to 22. They've been kind of on the small end for the reds. So you're not getting that really nice fight and that big red fight that people are looking for, but you still get to fight a red. And then the snook, that's the one that's been bouncing all over, just like the trout. I haven't really been focusing on my areas where I look for snook usually,
right?
Because a lot of those areas are residential areas, and those canals seem to be a little dirtier still because of the hurricane. That they're not recovering as fast. You know, today's spot that I fished was the first time I was able to fish that spot since Hurricane Ian, and all the conditions has changed. I just went out there to see what's different, and there's a lot of stuff that was different. I was still lucky enough to catch some fish, but the water completely changed. You know, there's spots that are gone. You know, there were holes that were 12, 15 foot holes, which is rare in my area, that are now filled in, and they're only 6 feet deep, 5 feet deep. So I'm still trying to figure it out. I've been lucky enough that it seems like everywhere I go, I'm still finding some fish, but I'm still honing in on all the areas that I've fished and making sure there's still fish in those areas. I still haven't fished all my areas yet. Sanibel is not even open to the public yet, which is another place that I fish a lot, and so I have no idea what the conditions are there yet.
Okay. Oh,
there you go. One. That was today too.
What was going in that flash photo?
I caught 5 reds today. So the red bite, that's the best bite for reds I've had since the hurricane, and all on artificial, from paddle tail to the voodoo shrimp.
Nice.
Yeah.
We should have a reel, end of year reel of the faces of E. So Sean Fenwick, do you fish the mangroves around Singer Island? What's the most common fish for that area?
That's Jupiter.
Yeah, that's the other side, I think.
Oh, okay.
That's around Jupiter. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Sean, that is a different area of Florida that E fishes.
I haven't talked about where he fishes.
But Yeah, thank you. So I guess let's educate the audience a little bit then. So what areas of Florida, in the Southwest area of Florida, do you fish? Do you cover?
So I usually can fish anywhere from North Pine Island all the way. I've taken people all the way down to the Everglades. So 2 hours south of here, in Chuckaluski. I don't know if you're familiar with that area.
I'm
No,
not.
okay. But it's the Everglades, so it covers a good amount of area that I'm comfortable fishing in. If you call me, I've gone and taken people up as north as Tampa, which is 2 hours north, and then as south as the Everglades, which is 2 hours south. So if you guys give me a call and give us enough time, and you want to plan some sort of trip anywhere in this area with the kayaks, we can usually make it happen as long as we have a good amount of time and we can plan everything correctly.
Nice. All right, Carl Ward, do you ever use a bucktail jig?
So no, I've tried, and I have friends of mine that I fish with that use bucktail, especially in shallow water, and when the reds are being really spooky, anything you cast at them, he usually throws on a bucktail and does very well. What I usually do in those conditions, I'll throw on a spoon or a really small little light shrimp. But I have not committed to the bucktail, but it's a very successful jig down here. A lot of people use them. There's all kinds of different companies, and I'd say at least 70% of the guys I fish with use bucktail. So
Mhm.
they're
Well,
useful. I do not use them.
Carl Ward is a craftsman of his own homemade
Ah,
bucktail jigs.
okay.
So, I know that Grant has used them, and maybe you'll go national, Carl. Just keep on doing what you're doing and spread the word. So it looks like we're coming to the end of the show. So is there any last bit of advice you can give the audience on some of the fish that we talked about, some of the setups, and anything else, golden nuggets that you'd like to share?
My biggest golden nugget is in the winter is slow down everything. Your
Mhm.
retrievals, how long you stay in a spot. Um, Usually in the summer, I don't spend more than 5 minutes in one little area making casts.
Wow, that's too long for most people up here.
Right. Oh, really? Okay. And in the winter, you gotta you wait a little longer because sometimes it'll make that difference.
Mhm.
I've proven it that if you just wait a little longer and slow everything down in the winter, it's more effective than power fishing like everybody tries to do and find the fish, find the fish, find the fish. In the winter, they're there. They're just a little lethargic and slower, so you really have to put it right in front of their face.
Right.
Hmm.
And our boy E is one of the amazing people who are on our TF Plus program, where he actually does amazing tips that you do not get on any YouTube page or his Facebook page, but only on TFC Plus. And he shows some amazing techniques. One I use often, I coined it the e-jerk, and it works amazingly in a lot of areas that I fish. So another reason to subscribe so you can see more of E and his amazing tips. But we have another question. Rodney Green, do you ever fish with a fly rod from your kayak?
I have never fished off the kayak with a fly rod, but I have had clients that have and have successfully caught redfish, snook, tarpon with fly rods. I don't mess around too much with the fly rods. I enjoy it, but I can cover more area and I have a higher probability of catching fish with my spinning rods.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious, Rodney. Now, Rodney is in Missouri. Must be, and I think he mentioned this the last show. I think it's like -4 degrees where he is, but I'm just, yeah, it's cold. Do you use a fly rod, Rodney? But we're coming to our last minutes here, and time for question of the evening. For someone to win $25 off Hook Optics. So who do you choose?
Man, I like the fly rod one.
Yes.
Yeah,
Rodney Green. You have one. Oh, sorry, Sean. We missed you. Let's bring up, even though Rodney has won, I think we have time to still hit Sean's question.
It's because he's TFC Plus.
No. What is the limits on fishing in? What is your limits on fishing in weather conditions? Okay.
Well, I think the coldest I've gone out fishing, I believe, was 50, somewhere between 50 and 60 for me, and that's freezing for me. If I have to wear sweatpants, if I have to wear socks in my kayak,
Yeah.
If I have to wear socks, it's probably too cold. So
yeah.
Whatever sock weather is, which is probably about 50 degrees for me, is a no-go for me. I did have to do one colder than that, but it was for a tournament, and I forgot to bring socks, and I ended up putting gloves on my feet to keep my feet warm. It was horrible. So
Wow,
50 degrees
that's
is
good
my limit.
content, though. That would be good content.
And for me, is more wind. Wind is what I more pay attention to down here. If it's over 25 knots, sustain, and then gusting, even if I have spots where I can hide from that, it makes it no fun. And usually the fishing isn't very good during those high winds.
No, I absolutely agree. I love the warm weather as well, but I will wear 10 layers to go fishing out here. But I agree. When we did our 40-day excursion up and down the East Coast, I got very comfortable in my flip-flops and shorts. So
Yes.
not enough to move to Florida just yet, though. So want to thank you so much, E, for your time. And as always a pleasure. Thanks for everyone for tuning in and for your amazing questions. I hope everyone has a very Merry Christmas and a very special New Year. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great evening. Fish on, everybody. Bye-bye.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.